Welcome, everyone, to the Cognizant Classic. I'm Andy, being joined, as always, by my fellow golf handicapper, Nick Borrman. We're going to break down the Cognizant Classic here, go over some players that can trip you up. We'll go over some outright winners, some top tens, some long shots, and as always, we'll be going over some Draftkings Darlings. Nick, you pulled up this graphic that our winner last week hits ball about as long as you do. Is that humbling or encouraging?
Yes. I'm on the lowest end of it, and that means I can't compete on any other level, so I got no chance. Which I already did.
Well, congratulations to Campbell. It was kind of out of nowhere. Weirdly, Nick, it turned kind of a somewhat boring tournament into a really good finish. I enjoyed every minute of that last round. I thought it was riveting. That was really, really good. TGL continues its momentum, so we got some good things working here in golf. Let's do our course preview here. If you guys could hit the like button, leave us a comment in the comment section, and thank you so much to everybody that's viewing. The views are way up this year, which is absolutely fantastic. Getting over 2,500 views on the Mexico Open last week. Nick and I were so happy and so proud of that. So thank you to you guys. Subscribe to the channel. You get notified whenever videos are released. A lot of college basketball, a lot of NBA, a lot of NHL videos these days. But of course, we got your golf fix as well. All right, let's take a look at the Champions Course at PGA National. Nick, it's really just a true Florida style course. It's not super long, coming in about 7,200 yards as a par 71. A lot of water. I think it's 15 out of 18 holes. Water is going to be in play. There's only 3 par 5s, so it's not one of those courses where you can pick off birdie after birdie after birdie. I found it interesting, Nick, that the cut line the last 2 years was -2 and +1, but the winners were -17 and -14. So it's like one of those courses where there's every year there's some guys that get out and do pretty low, but for the majority of the field, this is a pretty tough one. Wind is always a factor. We're recording this on Tuesday morning. As of now, it looks like Friday morning is going to be pretty windy, and I believe they're getting some rain earlier in the week here. So could slow down the course here a little bit. And then, of course, we also have the bear trap. Those are the 2 par 3s and the par 4s. We'll talk about that coming up. But there's some thick rough. There's tons of bunkers. There are trees. It's one of those courses where if you don't hit great shots, there's a lot of punishment out there, Nick. But it's a course that does reward really, really good shot making. I'm a big fan of this course. What's your take on this?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with the fact that the course is tough. That's kind of what the Florida Swing always does. You get into this is formerly the Honda Classic, so if you remember that name, you'll know it's a tougher event. The next week at Bay Hill is always tough. So of the last 12 winners, Andy, only 4 have eclipsed 10 under par or lower. So that proves right there it's not a course you're going to go out and shoot very, very low. As you said, maybe one guy gets hot and posts something, but the majority will not. Bear trap. You hit the nail on the head there. Par 3 15th, par 4 16th, par 3 17th. Since the beginning of the tournament, 17 now years ago, that 3-hole stretch has averaged over par every single edition, including plus .435 last year. So nearly half a stroke over par during those 3 holes. And that'll make or break, of course, your week. We talked about this last year. The course is a little different than it was prior just because they made up one par 4, a par 5. They further extended that. That's the 10th hole. It's now 550 yards. Aside from that, it's still the same course. If you've watched the Honda Classic in years past, you would recognize. The greens are big. They're about 7,000 square feet on average, which is larger than average for the PGA Tour. So you expect more green regulation this year, which will put a little bit more emphasis on guys putting. Bermuda grass, a lot different. You'll have people that are notoriously good players in Florida. Shane Lowry is one that comes to mind. Billy Horschel, even though he hasn't really done much, he's always a guy. He's from there, plays well in these Florida events. So keep that in mind too, and you can do some deep dive digging on Bermuda grass players and see who's best there. But really, when it comes down to trying to find players this week, I'll just end with this one last stat I find very, very interesting. So we know tee to green game is obviously very, very important any given week. But sometimes, if you're shooting 25 under par, putting just can simply trump that. This week, you got to stick with your ball striker. So each of the last 7 years, Andy, the winner of this tournament ranked no worse than 5th in that department for the week of strokes gained tee to green. And for 4 straight years, 2018 to 2021, they ranked number 1 for that tournament. Now, I get it. You played well that week. Of course, you're going to be in contention, but you want to look for guys that are consistently tee to green strong, because that is probably going to be who's going to come out on top this week. And like you said with the weather, Andy, not a lot there right now. No rain during the tournament, so that looks nice. A little bit of wind perhaps on Friday, but aside from that, normally you get last year we had I forget if it was Saturday or Sunday, but there was a pretty significant wind on one of the weekend days. I don't know if it'll get like that this year, but we'll watch it and we'll adjust as the week goes on. But right now, nothing too crazy for the weather. But either way, it's a better field than we saw last week, and we'll get into that here in a second. We talk strokes gained.
Yeah, we've got some pretty decent names here. What makes the wind even more challenging this week is just how open everything is. Like, it may not seem like there's a bunch of wind, but a lot of these tees and these approach shots are just really, really wide open. So even a little bit of wind kind of gets exaggerated. Nick, my favorite hole is the 16th hole, the par 4, part of the bear trap.
Yep.
I like, on paper, you just say par 4, 465 yards. It's like, well, that doesn't seem that hard, but man, is there trouble everywhere. And it starts with the tee shot. I mean, it's got to be accurate. Like, if you want to have a great approach shot with birdie putt, you absolutely have to hit the fairway. If you don't, you're just going to be really, really happy with a par. Like, a great approach shot, it can set up a birdie, but there's water and bunkers off to the right side of the fairway, rough and big bunker off the left side of the fairway. And this approach shot is just treacherous. You're dealing with a bunch of water off to the right. And the guys will bail out to the left. They'll bail out short. So you got to test their short game. So you can try and get aggressive with the approach shot. A lot of it depends on the pin location, but if your approach shot goes right, it's just bad news. It's just a really, really well-designed hole. And what I love about this, Nick, is it's a hole where it's like, nope, we don't have to make it super long to make it challenging. 465 is like nothing to these guys. But if you don't hit your accurate tee shot and your accurate approach, you're just not going to be rewarded. So I just think it's a great hole. That's my favorite one on this course. And we always rate the 18th hole. I'm a huge fan of this one. It's a par 5, 561 yard. This is a challenging par 5. Thick rough and bunkers on the left, which are going to eat up a lot of tee shots. Rough and trees on the right. So this is one of those, you hit the fairway in a par 5, you got a chance at a birdie. You don't hit the fairway, you're in trouble. You're going to be, again, happy with a par. So a lot of second shots to end up in the bunkers on the left. Huge water that hugs the right side of the green, and there's absolutely going to be more than one shot that goes in that water. It's a feast or famine par 5. I think it could set up drama towards the end. Never forget the year Shane Lowry finished runner-up when he steps up on the 18th tee and it just monsoons on his tee shot. He hits it and it stops raining. It was the most incredible, insane, unlucky thing. Yeah, he ends up second. So I love the tee shot. I love the second shot into this green. And what I love is I hope they have the caddies and players mic'd up, especially on Sunday, because the strategy with what to do with the second shot is really, really interesting to figure out. Huge fan of this hole. It's my highest rating so far this year. I give it a 7.8. But it does kind of come to speak just how cool this course and this tournament finishes. Once you step up to 15, you got 15, 16, 17, 18, super challenging and super fun. All right, let's take a look at total strokes gained here. This is the chart where we look at who's been playing good recently, who's been playing good long-term. Got some interesting names here. I recognize quite a few of those. I'm happy to see Daniel Berger on this list. I'm happy to see that guy back, creeping back into our lives. Walk us through this chart. What can we take away from it?
Yeah, the first thing to note, Andy, on the left-hand side, the official Golf World Rankings. Last week, we had 3 players in the top 50. You can see here, clearly, we already have more than that in this week. So this is a little bit deeper field than we saw last week, but still not to the level of a signature event, which will be next week. Some names on here you're going to recognize a little bit better than last week, but Russell Henley, steady, leading the way. So you got Ryder Cuppers, right? You got Russell Henley, Shane Lowry, both leading that, and even Sepp Straka was a Ryder Cupper. So definitely some good players here. The last 12 months, that's the first column as always, and that's the one so far this year that has produced very good results in signature events, but a lot more, volatile, let's say, results on these not signature events. And what I mean by that is it's a small sample size, but we've had 8 tournaments, 3 of which were signatures. The average rank of the player winning the signature events when you're looking at the strokes gained last 12 months rank is 3.7. So that means Shane Lowry in this graphic, Shane Lowry or Luke Clanton is your average winner on a signature event. However, in these non-signature events, the average winner in this chart would be 37. So don't be married to this chart necessarily. It is a good place to look and start. These guys are obviously going to be priced the lowest as far as outright goes. Last week's winner, Andy and I texted, that last round, and after the tournament was over, we're like, Brian, it was like the Vernon Lundquist, Happy Gilmore. Who the hell is Brian Campbell? Deeper dive, he actually ranked 17th in total strokes gained over the last 6 months. So it wasn't completely out of nowhere if you were paying attention. He's a Corn Ferry Tour guy, but for even us, it was like, what? I don't even know who that guy is. So congratulations to Brian Campbell. But this week, you can see the trends. I always try to look for guys that are steady. You don't want to see a huge drop off necessarily on the shorter terms, like you see even Horschel and Bezuidenhout here. They drop off quite a bit from where they've been the last 12 months to the shorter terms. But you mentioned Daniel Berger. I put him on the bottom of the list because his last 12 months, not good. The last 3 months, that is actually number one in this field, 1.67, just barely ahead of Sepp Straka. And he's definitely made strides on his comeback from missing nearly 18 months. So this is your top 10. I don't necessarily fully believe that the winner will come from this graphic, but it is certainly a good place to start your dive this week. And I'm sure a couple of these guys in this graphic will make a run, but might not be the outright winner this week.
Absolutely. Talked about some players that are going to do good. Let's move to players that can trip you up. A couple guys appear on the list this week, Nick. I'm going to start with Sung J M as a player that is still riding off of, as a big name, but I have no idea what's going on with this guy. Third place finish to start the year. And I was like, oh, Sung J, here we go. Big year. Since then, miscut for 33rd, 57th miscut.
Pretty sure I bet on this
cut. Yeah. He's missed the cut 2 out of the last 3 years here with a 42nd in there as well. So he's not showing good form. He's not showing good course history here. And you just look at his numbers and it is glaring. There's no other stat. It's his approach. It's awful. Minus 0.76 this year, total strokes gained on approach. He's plus strokes gained in every other category except those irons. And what a nightmare course to have bad iron play coming into. So, bad approaches, they're big problems here with the wind, tough greens, tough pins location. To me, he's a big time avoid this week. Sung J M will not be in any of my lineups, and I'll actually be looking to fade him possibly on individual round scores or head-to-head matchups. I'm going to go with Austin Eckroat. He won this tournament last year, but man, that sure looks like the outlier. I think if you're looking to try and get cute, you may go, well, Austin Eckroat, he won this. He had no top 20 finishes before the win last year, and then he had 2 top 20 finishes in the next 14 tournaments. So it definitely was an outlier last year. He's missed the cut in 4 out of the last 5 tournaments this year. He's outside the top 50 in total strokes gained in this field. He's going to be a big time stay away for me this week. Austin Eckroat, last year's winner. I do not see a repeat performance here. And then this one kind of hurts me. Denny McCarthy, he's been a great bet on. He's great in DraftKings, and he's been playing really, really good this season. But, Nick, I cannot ignore the course history here. Missed the cut in 2 straight years, and 5 out of the 7 times he's played here. His current form is great, but he just doesn't seem to play well here. I don't know why he keeps playing here. He's priced as a top 8 player this week. I'm just going to be looking to bet on other players. Listen, 5 out of 7 times missing the cut here is not a small sample size. Like, you missed the cut last year, like Sepp Straka did, but then you go back and, well, he finished 1st and 5th. I can ignore that, but I can't ignore 5 out of 7 missed cuts at this one. So, Sung J M, Austin Eckroat, and Denny McCarthy are your players that can trip you up. Let's move on to an outright. Yeah, let's move on to an outright winner. But Nick, first tell everyone about the MLS special that is still up. One of the more incredible streaks going on in sports is Nick Borman's consecutive years turning a profit in MLS. We talked about it last week. Tell everyone about it again and how we can find you at WagerTalk.
In all of sports. Thanks, Andy. So going for seventh straight winning season MLS. Great year last year, 61% winners, plus 60 units. Off to a winning start this year, 2-1 this opening weekend. So very happy to get off to a good start. And a lot of MLS action remaining. The season runs until December when the MLS Cup final is played. So the package includes every MLS play all year long. $249 is the early bird price. It will expire after this week. So now's the time. Hop on board. I also do, if you care about European soccer, which certainly is something to pay attention to. I have it's called the UEFA, which is Champions League tournament package, but it's all European soccer for $149 through the rest of the season, which ends in May 31st. So it'll cover all Premier League plays and all Champions League and Europa League plays, plus any other smaller league type plays that I'll have, which is not too many, but between those two, there's enough volume there. And MLS. So you got both options there, but MLS is certainly the bread and butter for me. And now's a good time to hop aboard. A lot of season to go.
Love it. Let's talk about your first outright winner. I didn't even realize we already mentioned him, but let's talk about Daniel Berger a little bit more.
Yeah, I thought that's why you mentioned him, because maybe you knew where I was going. So full transparency, it's been a long time since I bet on Daniel Berger. A lot of that obviously has to do with the fact that he disappeared for 18 months. He missed the second half of 2022. He missed all of 2023 with back issues. He returned last year, clearly out of tournament shape, needed a lot of time and reps to, even start to begin to make a comeback. But you fast forward to now, and it certainly appears Berger has kind of made that turn around the corner to become contender again. He's got 5 top 21 finishes in his last 8 starts. He had a solo 12th at the Genesis Invitational a few weeks ago. He had a runner-up, a co-runner-up at the Phoenix Open this season as well. He also finished co-runner-up at the RSM Classic in November. So his form is certainly rounding the right way. Combine his good play and confidence now, because he should be feeling pretty good about it. And he's got decent history here at this event. He's got 3 different top 4 finishes in his career at this event as well. So he should feel pretty strongly about his chances to contend again this week. You look at any data is not going to show Berger in any of the top rankings, again, because of his absence and his struggles last year as he tried to make his way back. So normally I look in those buckets, but he's not going to be there. This is more of a smaller, 3 to 6 month window. You're going to start to see him pop up. But this play to me is all about his resurgence form. He is a pass runner. He knows how to compete in the PGA Tour. And everything on this tour, the difference between the top and the bottom, a lot of it is mentally. And I think Berger's kind of got over that hump where he believes he can win, he can contend. And I think this is a type of a tournament where he will make another run. Hopefully we'll be able to cash something by the end on Sunday. So he's 28-1 outright, or he can back that up with a top 10 plus 320 or a top 20 plus 150. I think any combination of those is pretty good this week.
Love it. Yeah, it'd be good to see Daniel Berger get back in the win column after the injuries and such. So didn't he just look like a nice guy? He's like one of those guys that just looks like super, super nice guy
I want to be friends
that you're rooting for. Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about some DraftKings Darlings. But first, I want to tell you guys about an instant $100 discount on a 30-day special that we decided to run this week. Full disclosure, we got off to a rough couple weeks in January, and it is completely turned around and rebounded. We're up 22 units in February, and we're the number 1 handicap of the last 2 years and the last 365 days. So kind of want to celebrate. This is the best time of year for us. It's a lot of sports that are off the beaten path, that are off a little bit of everyone's radar. We've turned a profit all 3 weeks in the darts Premier League. We're coming off of 2 straight winning weeks in golf. We're on a 10-2 NBA run. So let's celebrate all these sports and run $100 off of 30 days. This is what we do. These are all plays that we bet with our own money. Anytime I put out a play, our money, our clients' money is involved in it. So this is the way that we have built our bankrolls. We've been doing this for years. So if you're looking to build your bankroll at a time of year where maybe it doesn't seem like there's a ton of sports now that football's over, there are plenty of sports. But the combination of lacrosse, darts, NBA, NHL, golf, all these sports that we concentrate on, we're looking forward to another big 30 days. And Formula One starts very, very soon. That is another sport that we have turned a profit every single year that we've been at WagerTalk. We turned a profit in golf and Formula One and NASCAR. So really proud of those records. Take advantage of 30 days. We do not run these specials very often. It's not going to be up for very long. $100 off a 30-day pass, wt.buzz/AL. All right, let's talk some DraftKings Darlings. Nick, another great week of DraftKings Darlings. We finished 60th out of 150 players for another cash. Boy, this first one, man, this first one is hold your nose, though. We're going to go Vincent Norman at 6,400. Technically, he has made the cut in all 5 tournaments this season, and both times he played here, but he's the definition of not a very high ceiling. His finishes here are 47th and 63rd. His best finish this year is 29th. He's making it to the weekend. We're just going to hope that continues. Give me a guy that has made the cut. Next, we're going to go with Sam Ryder at 7,100. We're riding with Ryder. He's made the cut every tournament this season, finished 21st, 8th, and 9th the last 3 times he's played here. Can't ignore that. So 7,100. This is a great one. 32nd in the field in total strokes gained this week. He's worth playing at this price. And then Grayson Sigg, going right back to Grayson Sigg. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, as Joe Ranieri would say. Got us a 17th place finish last week, and that's now 17th, 32nd, and 9th in his last 3 tournaments. Made the cut here last year, finishing 56th. I'm hoping his form's a little bit better this year, and I expect him to get us some solid points on the weekend. If you're looking for the full DraftKings lineup, that is on the free digital download on my profile page, wt.buzz/AL. That's the same page. You can get that 30-day special with no promo code. You can also get this free digital download. It's got my write-up on the course. It's got the write-up on players that can trip you up and the write-ups on the DraftKings Darlings. So that's free. You can grab that there, wt.buzz/AL. All right, Nick, let's
Andy,
take yes.
Andy, before you go to my next play there, quick story about Grayson Sigg, because he's got a place in my heart. So Torrey Pines a few years ago. First time I'm bringing my son. He was 2 at the time. We're at the event, and my only goal at that age is just be quiet when you're supposed to be quiet, right? We're off on the side of the course where not a lot of people around because it's a 2-year-old. I mean, he's annoying. And I'm like, all right, you got to be quiet. Somebody's teeing off, and we're literally standing, off to the side of the tee box. Grayson Sigg's in the group. I forget who the other 2 players were. There was nobody around, right? So I'm like, you got to be quiet, got to be quiet, got to be quiet. As soon as he hits the ball, my son screams and yells, claps, cheers. Yeah, good job, good job, good job. I don't even think they are paying attention, right? Grayson Sigg walks down off the tee, makes his way over to us, signs the ball, and gives it to my son. It's the coolest experience ever. So I always remember this place. We got the ball, of course, and I got this place. And then my son won't even remember that, right? But I got a picture of it, and we got the ball. And it was a cool story. It was a cool story. So Grayson Sigg, shout out to you, my man.
You're going to be the dad that's constantly telling your son about that, and your son's like, I was 2. I have no recollection.
Who is Brian Campbell?
Like, no, he signed the ball. Yeah, exactly. That's a great story, man. I love that one. All right, let's take a look at another kind of a longer shot here. Guy that might be interesting to keep your eye on. Who do you like here?
Yeah, so my worthy long shot this week, not as long as it was last week, but Andrew Novak. You can find him as long as 55 to 1, 50 to 1 most books. He checks all the boxes for me to have a great week this week. In his last 4 starts, he's finished tied for 13th or better in 3 of those, including what I kind of like to compare this tournament to, tougher fields, and tough courses. You got the Genesis Invitational, which the winner was 12 under. And then you had the Farmers Insurance Open, which was the winner was 8 under. Now, I know those were both on the same course at Torrey, but it is a tough venue. And he finished in the top 13 in both of those events, proving he can play well on these difficult courses. He also finished in that mix at Pebble, where Rory won at 21 under, so a little bit easier course, but a very tough field that week because it was a signature event. So I make those notes because again, I think they correlate to the strength of this venue this week. Going back to the RBC Canadian Open last June, Novak's played in 18 starts total. He's only missed 4 cuts, and he's finished in the top 25 in 10 of those. So clearly on the better side of what his average is. He's more in the mix than he's not. He's still searching for that first PGA Tour win, but he contested here last year very well, where he ultimately finished tied for 9th. So he's got a little bit of course history in his favor too. And finally, he's got a balanced game, and I kind of like to look for that at a tougher venue. You don't want to see one part of somebody's game, and maybe he's a bad putter, maybe he's a poor chipper, maybe he's not a long hitter. You kind of need to hit all the boxes in these tougher venues. And he's one of only 7 players this week that's gaining strokes in all 5 categories over the last 6 months. So Novak, you're playing consistent, you're playing well, you got some history, you got some good form. I think it all combines to a good week again this week. And I think 55 to 1 to win is good. He's plus 550 for a top 10 or plus 250 for a top 20 as well. Again, any combination of those, I think you're going to cash something this week.
Love it. Love it. Just real quick for everybody, if you're watching this on Tuesday, I am willing to lay the minus 170 on the Bay Golf Club against Jupiter Links. If you're watching TGL and betting on it,
yes.
It's starting to get bettable. Now, last night, I don't know if you saw, what was it? The LA team was down 4-0 and they won 5-4 in OT.
Yeah, won in overtime. Right?
Won in overtime. But I mean, they got Max Homa and Kevin Kisner on Jupiter. That has not been a winning combination.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got Minwoo Lee, Shane Lowry, and Wyndham Clark playing for the Bay, and they've just been good. They're 3-0. Jupiter's 1-2. So -1. I was expecting over -200. So less than -200. I'm probably going to be playing that one. So
Love it.
there's your TGL look. So they're really getting the hang of it. They understand how to use the hammers. They're understanding how the green works a little bit more. You're seeing him be way more aggressive and kind of going for those Hail Mary like long. What we see, two of the longest putts all season were made
Yep.
last night. So kudos to them. They've improved big time. I wasn't sold after the second week, but they've done a really, really nice job. Do you make time to watch it, Nick?
Yeah, yeah. It's right in that bedtime time, so I have to pause it and then come back to it. But yeah, I always make time to watch it. It's very entertaining. I love it. I'm hoping it's broader than just us in the golf niche, but there are plenty. Listen, I'm at a club pretty much every day, so there's always people talking about it. But I don't know how far the reach is outside of the golf world. But I love
Well, Joe told us off camera that it's like the hottest ticket in town. Like
it. Yeah,
you can't get tickets to go there. So it sounds like it's doing really, really well. I think they figured out the format. I love when they do back-to-back matches. I hope they keep that up. I didn't
yep,
realize that only one just kind of wasn't enough for me. So I enjoy seeing like the two matches because they do go so quick on a Tuesday. So yeah,
yeah.
shout out to them. They've done some incredible work there. So all right, guys, that's going to do it here for us. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Please hit that like button. It really helps us out. Leave us a comment. Don't be a stranger. Tell us who you like in the comment section and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to take advantage of Nick's MLS special that's on his profile page. Don't forget to take advantage of that 30-day instant $100 discount on my page. You can check out Nick's plays, wt.buzz/NB. All my plays, wt.buzz/AL. It's going to do it for us. Good luck on your plays, and we will see everyone next week.